back again from sunny Singapore himself, Mr. McGowan. How are you doing, my man? Look at you, looking all wavy in that. Here we are in miserable Northampton town. How you doing? How you holding up?
Good, man. Good. Just I've got 5 days left in quarantine in Singapore, and then I can get out of COVID jail and then get on with things.
The gulag. So with all this going on anyway, so how far did you know about the Evolve thing? Obviously, congratulations on the So what is it? Is it? I know how some gyms have tryouts. What is this thing you've signed up for in itself?
So I actually got a message off of them on Instagram. I think it was like November time, maybe. It was just as we went into like a second lockdown, I think, in England. And yeah, they messaged me on Instagram, and then I went through like an interview stage, and I think they were interviewing a few different like international people who could, like, English speaking people, because they've got a lot of Thai trainers there, like Muay Thai trainers, but no like English or English speaking like as their first language. So I think they were doing an interview stage, and then I had about 3 or 4, and then yeah, I got offered the job in December, like just before Christmas. So yeah, and yeah, I got that, and then I don't think it's not a tryout thing. I think I got like a 3-month probation kind of thing on my contract, but other than that, it's just straight into work and get going.
You must have been so gassed when you got that as well, because again, like the whole stars align when you're in a world in the UK where it's all like, okay, hush hush, sneaky training, if anything, to then, okay, I can actually do this all legit, and in the sun and everything else. Like, is this something you would have done regardless of lockdown? Something you would have looked into going to, that side of things? I know you said about one and that sort of career path, but is that something that was so proactive, or was it more like if it was there, you take it?
You know what? I never even thought about it, because the caliber, I mean, I said it in a video I put up on YouTube, actually, like the caliber of fighters that they employ there for the Muay Thai team, they're all Thai. So like, it's been a thing that I think most people knew about Evolve, is if you talked about Evolve, it was the Muay Thai trainers, all pound for pound, like the best Thai fighters in the world. So in terms of getting a job there, didn't even think about it. Like, didn't even cross my mind. I was actually training in Leeds, and then that just come about. But I've always been interested in going to Evolve, because I've trained with a few of the guys there that are trainers here, like the Same and Nongo. And so I always wanted to kind of come here at one stage of my career, maybe do like a camp. But yeah, things happen in weird ways sometimes.
This just kind of gets mad in itself. I mean, the whole thing's quite a surreal experience, I can imagine. But regards of going in there, obviously not being Thai, I mean, unless there's any secrets you want to get out here, but like, what's the initial feeling of that sort of thing? You try and make it your own sort of thing? You try and adapt to their sort of styles in that sort of way, your own style of coaching? Like, how are you gonna? I don't know. What's your initial approach for this sort of new situation?
I've got to be honest, like, I know Evolve, they're such a big organization, so I mean, I don't know if they have a certain criteria that they want me to follow, or they'll just let me go on my own and do my own kind of structure of classes. In England, I mean, I've got my own kind of structure, and I feel like it works really well. But if they want me to tweak that to maybe suit a different audience, like maybe more of a commercial audience, or yeah, that's the word, isn't it? Yeah, commercial. Yeah, like, then if I have to kind of adapt, I'll adapt. But yeah, just see what they say. Obviously I'm in quarantine now, so I haven't even got to meet any of them yet. It's all been over the phone. So once I get out of here in 5 days, I'll know a lot more about my schedule, and I know a lot more about the classes and what I can and can't do, and etc. So yeah, just kind of go with it and see what they want from me, and hopefully we can work together, and I can bring my bit to the table, and then maybe add a little bit of what they want me to do to the table as well. So yeah, I think it would be a good mix.
So when it comes to your coaching sort of like methodology sort of thing, the things you think about when you're building these classes or individual one-to-one sessions, are there certain things you try to hit? Is it certain priorities? Is it general well-rounded things you go for? What's your sort of, I don't know, when you're planning a class, for example, what do you sort of try to take into consideration?
I mean, wet classes, a lot of the classes, like, in the UK, it's the same. Like, a lot of the people that come to the classes ain't actually fighters. So what I try to do, I try and stick to the basics of everything. So go through, like, if it was like pad work, I'll go through like the mechanics of a movement, maybe do a real simple combination, depending on the level of the class, obviously, but usually stick to the basics. I only do the basics myself, so I don't really do anything to flash myself anyway. I wouldn't make them do anything that I wouldn't do myself either, because I'm not going to teach something I can't do. So if you want me to teach spinning kick, you can go somewhere else, because I can't do it. So yeah, I just keep it nice and basic, but then I feel like when you get the basics right and you're putting all the power into the kicks and you're hitting with effect anyway, you get a good workout. So it kind of kills two birds with one stone, because they're getting a real good workout for their like kind of cardiovascular, and they're learning on the job as well. So yeah, I try and keep it more like basic really, and then if the class kind of is the same sort of people most days or weeks or whatever, then maybe as the weeks go on, if they're getting a bit better, then maybe advance it a bit. I'll do one main combination in the round, but maybe do a freestyle round, but they've got that as the main combo to go back to all the time. So little things like that, and then yeah, so keeping them fit, and then learning the proper technique, like Thai style, like Muay Thai style.
This is where it gets interesting as well, because again, you start learning through the more sort of less is more as you go up, and again, you're training with people at world caliber, to then teaching between novices to other experienced fighters. It's then finding that happy medium. And I like the way you're saying you wouldn't teach someone to do something you wouldn't do yourself. Not so much like something you're not capable of, something you just wouldn't really. It's not really something you put your time into yourself. But with is it more concepts you want to do with the pad work you're doing in your own training in that sense? Is it more like, okay, staying in a certain direction, movement sort of things, certain combinations? Or is it more just, I don't know, volume? What's your general sort of rule of thumb for that side of things?
I think it's more, yeah, probably a bit of everything. But like I said, my kind of style and what I found worked really well, even when I was a kid. So when I wasn't actually an experienced fighter, was keeping it simple, like maybe doing one round, kind of working on, if it was, say we do like 3 or 4 rounds of pads or 5 rounds of pads, one round, all right, focus just mainly on the kicking. So just literally right body kick, left body kick, drilling that kind of same technique over and over that round. And all right, next round we'll focus more on the elbows. Next round we'll focus on the knees, but more about the mechanics of the shots. And then maybe the round 4 and 5, all right, put it all together, throw a few combos, add a kick on the end of the punch, stuff like that. And a little bit of movement in there. It really depends. Like I've taught classes that, I mean, you've come, I mean, we mainly sparred when you come, but like when it's a lot more experienced people, we just kind of go with the flow and kind of maybe teach them a few little things, maybe a bit more hand control and moving off the side, parrying the hands, stuff like that. But yeah, like it just really depends on the kind of level of the class. But I feel like when you're doing the basics, you can kind of cover a lot anyway, whether it's movement, whether it's just like drilling a technique, like a kick or an elbow, whatever. I think you can drill a lot anyway. So you can get a lot out of that anyway. So yeah.
It's been quite a mix of sessions. I remember that sparring session as well. It's interesting. Something that really impressed me about yourself and I think Simon as well was weight distribution and the sort of fluidity of these techniques. Because again, like as you can imagine, me being quite lanky and quite clunky, these sort of kicks aren't quite as smooth and this, that, and the other. You don't want to laugh and agree, but that's fine. I'll take it. I know what you mean. It's fine.
But again, I can't believe how tall you were, to be honest. When you come, you're actually lanky.
Thanks. It's one of them. The difference is, like, you're the guy when girls say you're 6 foot, you're actually 5'11". I'm the one who's actually 6 foot. That's a difference. It's about a foot between that, but that's another conversation. Don't worry about that. We're going to start firing shots now. Here we are. But regards of like things you found more, I don't know, time you're putting in versus results you're getting out. Do you prefer pads? Do you prefer Dutch drilling? What sort of training mechanics do you prefer to do? You find get more bang for buck?
Pads definitely. I feel really? Like, yeah, I like pads better, and then pads and then in sparring and clinching. You know what? That's just been my style when it's worked for me. My style is like a real Muay Thai style, like proper traditional, I suppose. I've started doing a bit more kind of like speeding it up with the hands, like doing a few Dutch drills if you want, like not exactly Dutch drills, but like just changing the pace up a little bit for the likes of like One Championship and stuff like that, because the format and the scoring's a little bit different to like what you'd get in the stadiums in Thailand. But yeah, my favorite thing to do is the pad work, just freestyle pads, because drilling's good. Doing the drills, the Dutch drills, like over and over again, it is good because it kind of picks up muscle memory. But when you're on a pad and it's kind of flowing, that's how it is in a fight. You don't exactly think of a combination in your head in the fight and go, oh, I'm going to throw jab, cross, hook, low kick, body kick. It's all off the cuff. You just do it, boom. So I feel like pad work helps with that, because when the pad's there, boom, it shows, like your pad's shown, boom, you got to kick it. Or it gives you like 1, 2, then throw kick. Like, and once you obviously get a good pad man that you've got a good relationship with, like you kind of get a real good flow anyway, and you know what they're gonna put in front of you anyway. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's why I prefer pad work better. I think it's better for timing and stuff like that. Whereas a Dutch drill, I feel like they take a lot, like you learn to like take a lot of the shots, where my style's never been like that. I'd rather defend the shot. So I won't stand there and take a low kick just to punch you back. Like I'd rather block that low kick and save my leg than take a dead, like get a dead leg just to throw a punch. So I feel like they just take a lot more punishment than maybe is necessary.
Well, definitely. There's always the arguments of some people rather take one to give two. And for anyone listening who's not familiar with this, so pad work, as you would have seen everywhere, people holding pads in their hands, you hit those. Whereas Dutch drilling, you're taking it on your gloves, you're defending it as you would if you were taking the shot. And where I found benefit from that personally is the range, because again, I always found myself a little bit too far out when I'm throwing these shots. But like you're saying there, it's more of a defensive thing and nothing else. But I like the way you're saying with the flow sort of side of things, the natural, because when you're in a fight, obviously you're not saying you're going to be, okay, this is a combination of one, I've got my lock, I'll use this one now. No, it's okay, as a reaction, as a space, happy days, crack on with that. Are you more reactive? Are you more active when it comes to your combinations as such? Is it more you're seeing a gap, you're going to jump on that, or is it more something you're going to proactively make that gap? Do you feel?
I don't know. I think I might be more reactive. You know what? It's so weird. Like some of these things, like sometimes I don't even think about it. It's so like just drilled into my head now. Like I was watching a sparring clip of what I'd done the other day, and like I'd done some sweep, and I was like I remember actually doing it when I was in the sparring round, and I didn't even think about doing it. But like matey lifted his leg up split second, and it's like I saw the gap, boom, and done it. It's so weird how like you kind of muscle memory just, I don't know what it is, it's your brain or something, but just years of doing it, I suppose, and you see little gaps. So I don't know if it's like reactive. I think I might be reactive. Yeah.
This is where the question really comes from in that sense, because again, if you're getting a pad shown to you to react there and then on the spot, it's quite different to sort of Dutch drill in the sense of, okay, you see how they flinch, see how they react, and you sort of set these things up. And again, it makes sense for more of a, not so much a counter fighter, but more the sense of, okay, you're not eating shots to give more sort of thing, you're in and out. That makes more sense to be more reactive. Now, with that style in itself, is that intentional for just general longevity? Is that just where you find more efficient? Is that scoring thing? How do you come from?
I think it's a hard one. Probably longevity in a way, because I watch people like Senchai, and he don't really get touched, and he's nearly 40. I'm guessing he's around near the 40 mark, and he's still fighting, and it looks like he could go until 60. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and that's just, I think that's purely because he's so clever. Same as like people like Mayweather in boxing. Like he probably could go on for longer and longer because he didn't really take too much punishment. But I think I like that style as well because I feel like it's more efficient. You block one, you're still in control. You can block, and then when there's an opening, you can score your shot. So I suppose it's a bit of everything. It's a bit of like from the scoring perspective, longevity, and stuff like that. I think it's a bit of everything. But I've always had like Thai trainer, or with my Thai trainer, I've had someone that's a real purist Muay Thai trainer as well. So and I've obviously been to Thailand a lot. So I kind of learned that way as well. I think a lot, like kind of probably the scoring, how to play the game, kind of thing.
Now, when you're sparring, do you play the game in that sense to try and score, or is it more just general sparring as you would just for general practice? Are you very competition oriented when it comes to your sparring? Not so much in intensity, but more conviction with the shots you're landing and such.
I don't think I spar too. I don't ever like to try and like hurt people. You know, like I'd want to win the spar, but I want to win it by skill. So yeah, it'd probably be more like kind of using skill more so than force. But and again, that's probably like the Thai style sort of way. I put the shots in the Thai style. Sometimes they're actually they might be too playful, maybe sometimes. But when you're in England, if you kind of do that, people will catch your leg and you'll get sweep because people take it a lot more serious. Like Westerners kind of take it a lot more serious when they spar. So in England, like, there's a difference of sparring when you're in Thailand and when you're in England and stuff, because you have to you have to put your shots in a little bit harder in England, because otherwise people just take liberties. Like that's just the attitude and of the fight game, I suppose. But yeah, I like to keep it quite relaxed. But in my head as well, like I think it's more in my own head. It's not like I'm competitive. I hate getting beat. Yeah, I fucking hate getting beat. So even if like someone lands one punch on me in that round, it annoys me. Like, and I'll think about it after that session about, oh, what can I do? I remember Simon he landed an uppercut on me once, just one uppercut in the round, 3-minute round. And obviously me and Simon have our banter anyway. So he's like, fucking hell, your head got fucking punched off. Yeah, like he's like, your chin's over there somewhere. But I I remember after thinking that I can't get hit with that uppercut ever again. Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna? Yeah, what am I gonna do to like stop that ever happening again? And but I think it's a good thing in a way. Like, you can't be too critical, but like at the same time, it's good to kind of critique yourself and then look for ways to stop that happening. That's probably how I've evolved and done so well, maybe.
Well, I got Evolve in there as well. Look at that. The question wasn't so much more power, it's more decision making. So, for example, prioritizing the clinch, prioritizing certain shots, because they'll score higher than it is landing with more sort of power in that sense. But again, the same sort of vein with that. It's interesting how there is definitely that whole thing that if I'm feinting when we're sparring lightly, not going to respect it. Whereas if I sting you in the nose, you're like, okay, shit, now it's going to mean something. But yeah, so regards of like throwing shots that necessarily score higher. So regards from, a layman who doesn't really know the Thai world too well, what is the sort of hierarchy in the sense? Is it more kicks and clinch work is more priority than that sense? Is it more landing combinations, significant shots? Where's the general scoring sort of lean towards?
It's a weird one, because it basically how to score Muay Thai is it's scored on effect. Like, primarily, it's all about effect. So you can throw a body kick to me and it hits me, but it just taps me. It doesn't budge me. I'm still in my base and I'm still solid. And I throw a massive low kick back, and your leg goes boom all the way over there. Like, your low kick beats my body kick. Whereas a lot of people actually kind of get mixed up with it. Like, people say this punching don't score in Thai boxing, and it does, but you just have to be effective with it. If I punch you and it just taps you and it doesn't really land on target and it maybe hits the gloves, but there's no real effect, yeah, don't score. But if I use the body kick, it hits you, but then you throw a big punch back and my head rocks right back, you score bigger than me. That's one aspect of it. And then the other aspects, which I think I've learned more so in the last few years, is controlling the fight. So you can fight on the back foot, but if you're getting pushed back, you're losing. But if you're taking the back step and then letting them walk into a kick, boom, and then you step off, you win. You're winning. Like, because at the same time you're controlling, but it actually shows effect because you're actually being effective with that control. And I've learned that over, I'd say, like, more so. I used to think it was more just pure effect, but I actually think they score more controlling. So it doesn't matter what the technique is. It could be clinch, it could be a kick. If you're controlling in the clinch, that scores more than you throwing like shitty kicks. Do you know what I mean? Or throwing a kick that doesn't really land too much. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, because I think people overcomplicate the Thai scoring. It's not actually that complicated. Yeah, just about control and effect, I'd say, is the two main things. So when I'm sparring, it'd be trying to look like I'm in control is what I'd like to do. Yeah.
Definitely makes a lot more sense again. And it follows in itself. You're not throwing for the sake of throwing, because where I get, I don't know, not mixed signals, but a bit confused with the sort of Thai style where you train versus how you fight. You see a lot of same side, a lot of volume, loads of kicks, reps upon reps upon reps. But and again, in a fight, you're not going to throw that sort of volume, that sort of quantity. Is that more of conditioning? Is that more drilling the actual technique itself? What is that at that point?
I think it's a bit of both. Maybe conditioning to kind of constantly be able to throw kicks. So if you do throw 100 in a round, you're not going to be tired.
Yeah.
Which you probably won't, but like, just that's been a bit extreme, obviously. But and probably speed. It helps with the speed of the kick, because if you can smash out 10 kicks in 5 seconds, like, then your one kick, boom, that's going to be quick in a fight as well. And that's one thing I do think has really helped my kicking over the years. So, like, my Thai trainer Pan, when I was young, it was just thinking back to it now, I would have probably done thousands of kicks in a day of training with him, like just on pads, like the whole round, just kick, double kick, like just drilling one, boom, boom, boom. And then over the years, a lot of people like say my trademark shot would probably be my kick, because I just think it's from drilling it so much and doing so much, like, just volume of it, and it's helped my speed, my power, etc.
I mean, this is kind of where the experience gives context to what you're doing in itself. Because again, you go in the gym, you think, okay, I'm going to throw jab, cross, hook, leg kick. Why am I doing 1,000 kicks? But again, if you have that already done, you've got the option to at that point. And again, it's building that. I don't know. You have to have the experience to know what you need and why you need it in certain things. The context makes so much more of a difference. Regardless of how you teach, say, like a one-to-one, for example, do you try and build an area where they're already doing well? Do you prioritize them where they're currently weak? Is it general base of competence? What's your sort of priority? Say you get good or lanky me in for a one-to-one. I don't know. Jabs are all right, but kicks are a bit skew with, a bit tight around the hips. What's the priority there? Is it try and sharpen out the hands and find a kick that suits? Is it more sort out the hips? What's the balance? What's the priority for you?
I'd say I'd definitely work on the thing that you're really good at, because a lot of people are different. So I could be, your jab's really good because you've got long arms, but my jab isn't probably one of my weakest shots because I haven't, and maybe it's just something I need to work on a bit more. But whereas like I can kick better, but I don't know if it's like sometimes body types as well. So sometimes I get kind of like I look at the body type of whoever I'm PTing. If they're tall and lanky, all right, use your range, because that's where you're going to win fights, obviously. If they're small and stocky, a lot more power shots, getting in close, boom, low kick as well, big shots. But say for you, like your kicks ain't your strong point. I'd probably work on your
Oh,
shots fired.
I don't like your haircut. Play that game.
I hate you. Your beard looks silly.
That's not something you can't take back. That's not. I can cut my beard. You can't grow. All right, crack on.
Nah. So if you're
working on my kicks,
if you're working on
my
your
beard,
I would get you like working a lot more on what you're good at, and making you perfect that even more. And then maybe the last 10 20 minutes, probably 10 15 minutes at the end of the session, I'd do a full drill of just probably bag work, making you like drill a certain kick and certain ways how to get your hip over more and stuff like that, or little steps, or just little things to kind of try and drill it into you how to get them kicks better. Then hopefully the next session you come back, you're still good at your hands. And then if I'm holding the pads, maybe I'll see a slight improvement with the kick, and then do it like that, build it, and then hopefully by say a few months time, you're getting them kicks in a little bit more, like a little bit more smoother. So you've got nice hands and you've got nice kicks. That's how I like to do it, really. I'd say.
Oh, my feelings aren't too hurt. Don't worry, it's all right. We'll work it out. But no, I like that in a sense. You've got to try them. Keep it specific to them, but also not try and make them you as such. Because again, you get a lot of like BTEC Dan McGowans at that point. You don't get the individual with their abilities there. It's an interesting way to sort of, I don't know, assess that, and also take that honesty of, this isn't my style. I can't really build it that way, but where I have my strengths, I can sort of adapt. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, 100%. Like there's some of the best Thai fighters in the world. They're always kind of put into a category, like especially in Thailand, they've got like, they call it Muay Khao, that's like clinch knee fighter. You've got Muay Fimu, like a technical fighter, Muay Mat is a puncher. But so a lot of them can, there's obviously some that can do everything, but a lot of them can only do one thing, and then they're not so good at kicking, or they're not that great at clinching, or they've got shit knee. Like Same, who's at Evolve, he's like probably pound for pound one of the greats of our era, and he like, I've seen him right kick. His right kick's not that great, but his left kick's unbelievable, and he's beaten so many people with that one left kick. Do you know what I mean? So everyone's got a different style. Everyone can do different things and stuff. So just work on what's good for you. And I think that's what kind of makes you a good coach, is adapting to the person that you've got. You can't just, like you said, that you get a load of BTEC Dan McGowan. So I'm trying to teach my style to everyone, which it's just impossible. Like body types are in like kind of the picture. You've got age, maybe like flexibility, whatever. Like there's so many different factors. So you've just got to work with what you've got.
I mean, this is it. It's what I don't know. BTEC Dan McGowan seems to be a floating term right now. I like it. It's good. We can run with that. But no, I like that in itself. And interestingly enough, you're saying now, obviously, you establish your game, what works, what doesn't. Where does your evolution sort of go at that point? Again, back to Evolve, but in the sense of you really build up this. I don't know, you're building your legacy as such. You build up your style. You build up this tape of things you can do well. The right kick you've done 1,000 times, everything else, and then some. How much do you limit yourself to what you're already good at and doing well with, to then, I don't know, picking up the areas where you're lacking as such?
Oh, that's a good question, actually.
Thanks.
You know what? I noticed like going to, because I went to Bad Company Gym, and there was certain things that I probably weren't good at, like sweeping was like one of my, probably not a thing that I wasn't that great at. And I think being around people that are kind of good at certain things as well, you naturally pick it up anyway. So like being with like someone like Liam, getting sweeped about 1,000 times, I think basically like to evolve in that way. I think you need to like obviously train all the time, and you need to train with people that are better than you, so then you can learn from them as well. So yeah, like I was at Leeds, and every session I'd be on the floor, and it's like the first time in my career probably where like I got sweeps constantly. I just felt like I was always on the floor. I never used to sweep people. Now I was watching myself spar the other day, like I clipped back and I'm doing little sweeps. And so I think just kind of being around different styles and being open-minded. I think you've got to be really open-minded, because I think a lot of people just brush, oh no, I can't do that, so I'm not going to even try it. Just keep trying, because if you fuck it up in sparring, it doesn't really matter. Like, you fuck it up and you go again. And then in the 10th, like on the 10th rep of doing it, you might get it. And then once you get a bit of confidence, you gain that kind of confidence, gain that momentum, you'll start doing it a lot better then. So yeah, I think just being around better fighters is key, and just trying things and being open-minded.
There's a lot in that I really like, and there's something in there I don't think you realize how prominent that is, what you've just highlighted. That is about being proactive and still being, it's not just showing up against people who are better than you, gritting your teeth, saying this is shit, I'm just going to get on with it. That's not improving. That's the minimum. But it's thinking, okay, what am I doing differently? Asking the questions like, what's the session like with Liam with you? Are you picking his brain? Are you just sparring and trying to make mental notes? What's going on? And also that clip of Simon, man, I feel for him. He gets roasted so much for it.
Oh, mate. But he's another one though. Like, I mean, Simon's a prime example. Like, if you took, when I first ever met Simon, probably nearly 10 years ago now, Simon he wouldn't even give a good spar to any of them guys. He wouldn't even, it would have been pointless him coming to Leeds. Or not pointless, obviously, but to train with someone like Liam Harrison, like, he would not have even landed a thing, do you know what I mean? Like, at all. Whereas now he's actually standing in front of him. But Liam's Liam, obviously. But Simon now, on his own level, or like at his own level, does really well. So like, it just proves that if you go up, like, he gets battered around a country constantly, but now he's got better and better. Like, and now he's on like kind of a really good stage in the UK, and he's probably fighting in the top 3 ranks at his weight, like, all the time. Do you know what I mean? So what was with Liam, yeah. So I kind of do pick his brains a bit as well. Like, I like to ask questions, like, or he's really good to train, because he'll actually just tell me himself. Like, he'll go, right, what, you're a really good right kick, but I'm catching it now and I'm sweeping you. Fake the right kick and land it like that, or fake it and then throw something else, or show me a little thing to do. Well, that's one thing. And then another thing, I take mental notes. Like, it's like I said to you, even with like people like Liam's probably 15 years more experience than me, fighting at world level. He's better than me at the moment, and he's on a different level.
You hear that, everyone? At the moment.
I plan to, like, obviously be on the same level. I don't think you can actually get too much bigger than Liam, to be fair. But that's how high my expectations are of myself. Like, I'm not going to do it if I don't think I'm going to get to that level.
100%.
But like, even when Liam beats me in sparring, which is basically every time we spar, it annoys me deep down, and it's crazy, because that's someone that's the best of the best, one of the best, like, foreign fighters out of Thailand or ever. So yeah, but like, I kind of, and then I'll go back, right, he keeps sweeping me, what can I do to stop getting sweeped? Or he's landing this, I need to, like, so just taking mental notes myself as well, and being probably hard on myself a little bit, and having high expectations of myself. I think that helps.
I mean, this is kind of the point. It's like, if you want to be the best, why would you settle for anything less than that? And if you're capable of it as well, because again, like, there's a whole thing about respecting people too much, and that, yes, it's Liam Harrison, yes, he's achieved X, Y, and Z, but yes, he's also got 2 arms, 2 legs. Like, you've got the same potential he will have. Like, whether or not you've achieved it yet or will achieve it, that's for you to decide. But again, it's the whole thing that, oh God, he's this person, he's invincible. Saying, well, it seems like, because he's defending properly and doing things properly, which he's earned that sort of ability. Like, I'm not saying he's got that ability, he's earned the ability. It's very different. You earn that, everything else. And this is where you appreciate your development. You think, okay, I've gone from where I was to where I am. Think about that big gap there. Where else is it going to go over the other end, and so on and so forth. I mean, this is, I don't know, it takes a while to appreciate that. I say now with a black eye, with a bit of headache, but hopefully it's going to come true at some point, but we'll get there.
It does. It pays off in the end, definitely pays off.
Now, regards of how your sessions have developed over your career and how you've sort of, I don't know, matured, and what you've seen work, what you've seen hasn't worked, what has been the biggest change to your training, or not the smallest change that's made the biggest difference? Like, leaning out stuff, something you do before was red, whereas now you don't bother with it, or something you add more time to. You see what I mean?
Yeah. I'd say, I mean, the last fight I had, like, obviously I've been inactive because of the hand injury and stuff, but I was in Thailand a lot, and I was running every morning 10 12k every morning, and my legs, I mean, I think it's actually affected my body still, like, from doing such hard, like, kind of hard graft like that. So that's one thing I probably not necessarily like I'd maybe do a couple of long runs here and there, but it's probably something I'd rule out of training, do more sprint work, because longevity, again, like you can't do that type of training and have a long career, because you just got to be, your body's going to be smashed. So that's definitely one thing. The long runs is probably not really needed anymore. I know that. And I think science and stuff like that is kind of, sports science and stuff has come about, and I think it's proven that. What else? Just adding more. I think it's more adding stuff to what I used to. I used to actually be like I said to you just a minute ago, like you've got to be open-minded. And I think before I was a little bit closed-minded, because I just thought, oh, Thai style, just do what the Thais do. Just what's
make the noise and hope for the best.
Yeah, literally, and do a lot of kicks on the pads and clinch. Yeah, like not really like. And that's all I used to care about. And then I used to think, oh, what's the point doing boxing training? Or I used to even be closed, like the whole drill thing, like we were saying earlier as well. It's not saying that I wouldn't do that, because I actually I was doing stuff like that in Dubai and stuff like that with different trainers. So I'm open-minded to trying it. It might not work for me, but at least it's something. It's just something else to add to my game. So just kind of being more open-minded. Maybe try like doing a lot more boxing training, adding more boxing training to my game. Different angles, different footwork drills, just adding more stuff. I think whereas before it was more just standard, right? Get in, do your pads, shadow box, just everything Thai boxing. To be honest, my downfall as well was always strength conditioning. I didn't really do that much of it, because again, it was, well, the Thais are strong as fuck in the clinch, and they don't really do anything. So I'll just do some pull-ups and push-ups and hope for the best.
And you're away, you sorted.
Yeah, but at the same time, what I didn't realize is strength conditioning doesn't just make you strong. Like it builds an armor for your body to prevent injuries and stuff like that. So that's another thing. And I think having an injury has made me reflect a lot and kind of realize what I need to do when I come back to fighting, which is hopefully soon. Just a lot of the things like outside, I'm really good at like, so I'm going off on one here, but I'm really good at like the pad work, the sparring, all of the stuff that you have to do for Thai boxing, like the Thai boxing training I love, and I'm really good at it. I work hard. But the stuff I slacked on outside of it was nutrition and strength conditioning, and just other little bits like the agility work and stuff like that. I didn't do that much of it. But having the injury, it's made me realize now that I need to start doing all of that. Like I'm watching people like Lomachenko, like the greats. Do you know what I mean? Like, and why are they so good? Because they do so much different stuff. Like their training methods are so different. They focus on breathing techniques. They focus on agility, footwork, pad work, sparring, drills. Like they do everything. And I think to be a great fighter, you have to do it all and be professional. And that's what I need. I got to a good stage, but I think I would have, if I carried on the way I was going, I think I would have got found out. And I think the injury was kind of in a weird way a blessing in disguise for me, because I wasn't taking it that serious at some points, drinking before fighting and stuff like that, so definitely been an eye opener for me.
Your evolution, so to speak. Again, we'll get a few more of those in, but where this question gets a bit more in depth, a bit more interesting, is more how much can you add and what needs to be added. And this is where things they go from being too lean to now being very excess, a lot of everything else, and a bit too specific in certain areas, everything else. The real question from this is, where do you find the need for certain areas? So what I say with this, for example, the boxing, you do that. Is it because you're getting clipped with stuff in sparring? Is it your range? Is it general footwork? Is there a means for the end as such? Is it something that's caused the need for this extra layer of development? What triggers your need to add something?
I think with certain things, I'd say like, when I've been sparring, especially since again being out of the ring for a while, getting caught with certain shots and stuff, and I think, all right, I could work on my boxing defense a bit more, because Thai style, you're open, like quite square, so you get a lot of the time like you're not really even thinking about moving at all. Like you just literally don't care. You take it, or like you kind of try maybe long guard or something. But yeah, like certain little things, right? I don't actually want to get hit with a punch anymore. Like
it's not very nice.
No, exactly. Like I'm a fighter, but fuck that. So yeah, like stuff like that maybe has triggered it, and then again, just I don't like adding. I think the footwork thing as well. I want to be more fluent with my footwork. So like being able to change direction and without even thinking about it. Like again, I go back to the reason I kind of thought about the agility and footwork stuff was Lomachenko. Like I love watching him box, and I love his footwork and how effective he is. And I think you can apply that in Thai boxing in a way as well. And I think if you could apply that and master it, you'd be a nightmare to fight. Senchai does it quite well. So that's another reason. I just want to be. I just want to be unstoppable. Like when I'm fighting, I want to have everything. I want to be able to do everything. And if I'm losing in a kick battle where it's kick for kick, all right, fuck it, I'll start punching now. Or all right, mate, all right, if you're gonna walk forward, I'm just gonna step off, and you're gonna be over there somewhere. I'm here, and you know what I mean, I'm scoring on you. I just want to be unstoppable and be the best. And I think to be the best, you've got to have it all.
So in order to be the best and be unstoppable and everything else you just described there, where does that sit with you regards of where you are now versus where you need to be? Is it a case of you've established your game and now you're making it indestructible in the sense of any sort of reactions, you've got actions, this sort of thing? Or is it more, I can adapt to any other style, I can change my style to then fill in these gaps? Is it what you're already doing you can make adaptable, or is it you can adapt to any style separately, if you see what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's more about adapt. Oh, that's a hard question actually. I think adapting to any style that I need to adapt to. So I think I'm pretty good at it actually anyway. Like I think that's been a strong point of mine anyway. But I want to make every bit of that kind of every style. I want to be perfect at it. That's just my mindset. So if I'm going to be a counter fighter, I want to be the best counter fighter. If I choose to be aggressive, I'm going to be the best aggressive fighter. If I want to use my footwork, I want to do it the best way. I think I've been good at it in the past, being kind of like using different styles when I need to and adapting. But like I said, I just want to be perfect at it and be able to beat anyone.
Now, in order to build these skills up in themselves to get to these different areas, obviously the footwork and everything else, again, the reference points are already existing fighters there. Is it more use it as a template and build your own style from that? Is it find your own path to get there? You're gonna put the ballet shoes on and have a bit of a layoff from Thai boxing? What are you gonna do? What are you saying?
The footwork for Thai boxing, I mean, Lomachenko done ballet, didn't he?
Yeah, that's why I said it. It's not just
yeah. I thought so. Yeah, because I watched the documentary.
All right, it's been filming you, mate. I know what's going on now. That's all right. That's why. Keep it quiet.
I'm quality at ballet now.
That's it. Pirouettes and that.
I'd say what helped me with my footwork, again, my Thai trainer, it was just drilling, like literally walking up, down, up, down, up. And it used to be like 20 minutes at the start of the session. I'd be like, this is boring. I'm like 11 years old at this point. Like, it's boring. Side to side. So I just like staying in your base. And then so yeah, like that's, I think, drilling it like that, but then changing it up as well. So then like now, like adding some of the like little like the ladder drills and stuff like that. Because then that up, down, that's you're just standing in a standard Thai stance. But then the ladder drills teach you to like kind of be a lot quicker in and out, boom, boom, boom. You know, like if you want to change it in, out, or whatever the ladder drill is. Or I've even been doing some of them. You know, you see like the NFL players doing like the mad. Like I've tried adding certain things like that in, because if someone that big can move that quick, then that would only help people like us in our game as well. So yeah, I think kind of drilling the stance is a big thing for me, and doing like this, like, so say if you were starting from the scratch, getting that base and then perfecting that first, I'd say, and then start doing the drills with the ladders and stuff, and then maybe just add something different to it.
So where, I don't know, this question gets a bit confusing. So when it comes to footwork in that sense with the ladder drills, it's more, I feel it's more capability. So if you're going to move away, you'd move anyway, be more fluent. Am I right in saying that?
Say that again. Sorry.
So with the ladder drills themselves, it's more to make the movement you're going to make already a lot smoother. So for example, the lateral stepping in and out, this, that, and the other, the movement you do anyway be a lot lighter on your feet. So with that in itself, regardless of what you're trying to do with your footwork, is it more like a Dominic Cruz kind of unorthodox angles, bit in and out, a bit of a strange? Is it more when I'm in and out, I'm just an inch out of range and I get in perfect amount? Is it, what's your preference with that?
So see the Dominic Cruz thing, he does crazy footwork, like, and it works for him obviously, but Thai boxing, I don't think that would work. More in and out, kind of in range, out range, in range, step to the side as I've gone into range, you know, just making it a lot more fluent. So yeah, just literally making it a lot more smoother. So step in, round, step in and out, like, and just change of range and stuff like that. I think that's how I want it to be, like, just look really smooth. Again, I go back to Senchai. He's like probably the king of it. Like, one minute he's here, next minute he's around his opponent somewhere over there, and he's kicked his back and he's won the round just by doing that one little thing. So, but he does it so smooth, it just looks effortless, and that's how I'd like it to be, and that's why I try to do these drills to try and make that better.
Now, regards of developing other areas of your game, you said about boxing for the hands. Would you ever consider doing things like I don't know, maybe not MMA as such, but like wrestling, Greco-Roman sort of clinch work, a bit unorthodox, a bit different, a bit trying to, I don't know, because where MMA has success in its own sort of world is being a bit cruder, a bit not as orthodox, a bit more, I don't know, offbeat to make these things more effective. Do you feel by changing that up in that side of things will give you more sort of success, or even mix things up in itself? Is it something you want to try and keep clean and Thai specific? Where do you sit with that?
What's Greco? What is that? Like, is
So
that where you can
Greco-Roman
strike
is
as well?
no Greco-Roman is full wrestling, but only from the, I think, the hips up, so you can't grab the legs at all. So it's only from the upper body clinch.
Okay, yeah.
The
I see.
strips and
Yeah,
throws.
I'm open minded to doing stuff like that. I think like that helps for like the clinch. I think for Muay Thai clinch. Because I mean I've clinched with some wrestlers, like just Muay Thai clinch, and my technique's obviously probably in a Muay Thai sense a lot better. They're unbelievably strong though. Like
It's horrible.
it's hot. They're so strong. Like, and even when you're grabbing them, you're like, oh, fucking hell, like it's hard to grab them, and it's hard to like get any kind of position on them. So I'd be open minded to try and stuff like that in the future. I actually did a wrestling class, like I told you that time at Rough Diamonds, and I was going to start doing it more, but then obviously lockdown happened, and so I just carried on doing my Thai boxing, like just doing my pad work and sparring that. But yeah, I'm open minded to doing stuff like that to help my game. Yeah, definitely, I'll try it. Whatever, if anything helps, I would like to do it, and I think stuff like that. But then there's certain things that probably wouldn't help. Like, so me doing jiu-jitsu probably wouldn't help in any way. Do you know what I mean?
Not
Like,
really, no. This is where this conversation gets a bit more. This is the reason I'm having these sort of points that they are, because with this, it's that balance between being open-mindedness, but also being, okay, I've only got X amount of hours in my training week. What am I actually going to do? What's my priority? It's all well and good me being, I'll learn from anyone. I'm not as coachable man alive, but also, I've got a fight to train for. I need to make sure I'm sharp and going to win this. Like, where do you draw those lines as such? Is it outside of camp, I'm doing whatever, but in camp, it's very specific? Where do you draw the lines between being too creative versus being proactive as such in that sense?
if like, to answer it probably easier, I'd say, like, say if I was going to structure my sessions now, if I was coming up to a fight, I'd say do what I've done over the years because it's worked, but then the stuff that I want to add on, maybe dedicate half hour at the end of the session to do that, maybe 3 times a week or something like that, to add in. But yeah, try and focus on like your sole, like the purpose of training, the sole focus should still definitely be the sport that you're doing. So obviously mine's Muay Thai, so doing my Muay Thai training, but yeah, trying to maybe add in a little like different style, maybe half hour at the end, just on my own time, like the footwork things and stuff like that. I think that's how I'd do it. Yeah, just so main focus, but then just a few little out, like a few 20 minutes, half hour, trying to focus on something different at the end of the session, and try add that in. And then again, it's then you add them things in, and then you've got to try it out though. In say when you start spar, you go to the next session and it's sparring. There's no point doing that drill and then going, oh, I'm just going to do normal. Like, at least try and see if it's working, see if it benefits, and try something out. Try a little side step and see if it works smoother than you did before. I mean, so yeah, you got to do it like that. I think anyway. That's how I'm going to try and do it.
Well, this is kind of it. And the way some people articulate that is more they have their A game and their B game. The B game's a new thing they're working on. A game is what they do when, push comes to shove, happy days. But doing that B game against a bag is fine. But if Liam Harrison comes up in front of you, if you're not going to work your B game and let's try and work it when push comes to shove, there's no point in trying it full stop. And this is where it gets a bit more, I don't know, a bit more real, a bit too close to home, I feel. But anyway. Outside of training, how do you tend to switch off? If you've tried to try and think, okay, I finished training now, my session's ended, I'm no more Muay Thai, I'm just going to chill, watch whatever shit, and then just crack on again? Or are you always 24/7, just shadow teeping by poolside, cracking non-stop?
I do, like, I don't know. Yeah, I am a bit. My mum and that go mad. Like, you always shadow boxing, fucking hell. Like, yeah, because it's hard to switch off.
Is there noises coming from the room? Like, fucking shut up. Driving around in the car, just got the Muay Thai music on in the background. The fucking like, is he an accident? No, he's all right. It's just Dan coming. He's all right. The service now are fine. We're good.
I think after sessions though, like, yeah, like if I do a hard session, I'd like to like kind of just chill out, put something on YouTube. I'm like addicted to watching YouTube videos. Like I go down a rabbit hole of just watching shit on YouTube.
What are you watching, God?
Literally anything, like I don't know if you know are you a YouTube kind of
I
person?
love it. Yeah.
Like, you know, like Chunks, Young
Yeah,
Philly.
Yeah, I watch them all the time.
Mate,
Man, they're so good.
all them type people. Like, I go through rabbit holes of just watching all their videos, and then today I was actually speaking to my missus about it. I randomly today, I was on YouTube, and there was randomly on my homepage, it was like someone surviving an avalanche, and then
Wow.
I went down a rabbit hole of literally watching people like their GoPros on them skiing, getting caught, and then they're like under the snow, getting like just random shit. Like that's how I think I switch off. Like
What
watching them.
happened? Go on. Under the snow with the GoPro. You didn't finish the story.
Yeah, and he's like basically he's that like trapped. He can't even really say anything. Like he's got obviously snow all over him. Like he's buried. And then he gets saved in the end. Like his mates come, they manage to find him and dig him out, and then the like helicopters and that come and save him.
That, man, that's mental.
Yeah, but that's the type of shit I can't like. I start and then I can't stop watching it for about an hour or two. Then I'm like watching all these people nearly dying.
It's good though. It's so like the algorithm's like aggressive because like TikTok as well. You're on TikTok.
You know what? I am, and I didn't used to really use it, but like I've started to use that a lot more now as well. Like, or like just scrolling through it. It's funny as fuck.
It's so like the algorithm's aggressively good. Like if you find anything of a slightly very specific genre, it will find it straight away. Like so much of it, like it's madness. I mean, this where I'm asking these sort of questions is more that sort of switching off, recovering properly, and everything else. And like when it comes to obviously building your brand, because it's not just being a fighter now; it's being a businessman in the sense of promoting yourself, promoting like your website and everything else. Like how do you find you allocating time for this? Is it like a diary sort of blocking in time for your sessions? Is it more just okay, I'm feeling a bit burnt out, switch off? How do you tend to, I don't know, manage your time?
See, again, for me at the moment, or the last couple of years, it's been a bit different for me because again, I ain't been active fighting, so the training it's been to just tick over. So if I feel a bit burnt out, I'll take a day off, I'll chill out. You know what, I've actually started doing like some meditating and stuff actually, like, and I feel like it just kind of chills me out a bit, like, and it kind of clears the mind and it makes you focus on certain other things as well. I think it's pretty good actually. Like, again, it was something I wasn't ever really that open-minded to, but I started doing it, and I feel like it helps quite a lot just to chill you out. And then for the website, again, it's like, then to be honest, the website's kind of easy really. Like I'll write a couple of blogs or something, and then I'll just put them out. Like that doesn't really take too much time up. So, but again, like sometimes what I'll do after training, if I'm chilling, I might write when I'm chilling out, and I feel like the writing thing actually does chill me out a bit. It's actually quite therapeutic. Weirdly, because it's not like I'm a clever guy or anything, but I just like writing about my experiences, and I feel like it can help people sometimes. So I find it quite therapeutic, and it makes me relax quite a bit, to be fair.
There's a lot in that I want to go into. And one thing you said there, very, for some reason, quite detrimentally, saying you're not very clever. I mean, this is one of those things. You find something you're actually interested in. Like, I've had to ask you something you don't give a shit about. You might be a bit sort of like, I don't know, I don't care. It's maybe inarticulate. You talk about Muay Thai, you're fucking off like a shot. And this is sort of the point. But a lot of people are like this, like, I'm not very clever, saying, well, maybe it's not interested in anything. You find something you like and, you're away. With the meditation, is it like a morning thing to get you started? Is it like, okay, I've just finished training, let's think about what I did? Is it reflection? Is it a reflecting thing when you meditate? Is it more of an anxiety thing to try and calm yourself down? Is it just general, just assessment, or is it just switching off? What is it?
Like I've done a few, like you mainly at night before bed. I've been doing it. I think I've only ever done it once. I actually done it in here a couple of days ago in the morning, and that's the first time I've ever done it in the day, like to like kind of start the day. But yeah, usually it's at night, and I think it's more to like, maybe reflect a bit, unwind, but a lot as well, like visualizing. Like I've got such like big dreams and such big goals in my head, like, and I think to keep myself focused, especially after the last couple of years I've had, it's been like pretty tough, like mentally and physically. So I think it's helped kind of stay on. Sometimes it does help just stay on the right track when you're kind of feeling a bit shit. You do the meditating and you kind of get that visualization going again, and you realize why it'll all be worth it in the end and stuff, like, because you get that clear vision of what you want. So I think that's what I like doing it for, is like kind of a time to reflect on like the kind of goal of what I actually want in the end run, and and probably to unwind a bit as well, to try and sleep, because when you train, and if it's at late at night, it's fucking hard to sleep sometimes, isn't it?
That's horrible.
it's like literally, I don't know, is it something to do with your heart rate? It must be.
Must be
like,
adrenaline spiking sort of thing.
Yeah, because like, I struggle to sleep, so like doing that just helps me relax and go to sleep as well.
Now, with that in itself, when it comes to your dreams and ambitions and goals, is it very much a tangible thing? Is it certain belts you want? Is it more of a, I don't know, a respect thing, a reputation, a legacy? Is it you want to get stopped and get, people recognize you? What is success for you in that sense, for you in your career where you want to go?
I think it's more legacy, like leaving a legacy behind, and the belts, the belts don't really. I mean, the one belt now that I probably want is obviously the one championship belt. But the more I thought about it over the years, I again, having an injury and reflecting on things, I was always chasing a stadium title. But then I was doing all this and I was skint, like I was fighting for shit money, living in like pretty shitty, not shitty conditions, but like not the best, like,
Yeah.
like, and I think I've dedicated my whole life and I'm not building a future at all for myself here financially. And if I win the belt on a Friday, on Monday, everyone forgets about it anyway. So who really gives a fuck? Like, I'm just doing it now to build my future and leave the legacy behind, I'd say, and just fight, do it for enjoyment. Like now, especially now I've got this job, it's the first time where I can actually focus on fighting and just do it because I love doing it, not thinking of the money, not thinking of anything else. It's just purely because I want to do it and I want to be the best. So yeah, I kind of just leave a legacy behind, and I want my like family and friends to be proud of me. Really, probably is the main thing. And
I like that for so many reasons, and a lot of that is that the honest reflection, because again, one thing you said there I thought was very prominent about living in the shitty conditions, that I'm on the grind and all the sort of things that get quite glorified, that I'm a fighter, I'm allowed to be injured and sad all the time because I'm starving and it's training. I don't really like it, but then you realize the bigger perspective. And again, a lot of people say I want this belt, this moment, this very sort of snapshot moment, but then what? And I like how it's the enjoyment, the fulfillment, the challenge. And the challenge there was a key word for me, that it's more of a, you're testing things, you're developing, and incrementally that is your priority. And as a secondary byproduct of that is your results, your legacy comes as a thing with that. I like that a lot. And one thing to touch on with this is your sort of family, girlfriend, things around you. Like, it's all, when you're injured on a hiatus and trying to work around it, you're around and there. Whereas now you're pretty much back in action, you're other side of the world. How are you finding maintaining those relationships still? Because again, like, it's all well and good when you're local and it's later, it doesn't matter. But when it's now, like, how are you finding it now being a bit more real again?
I mean, once I come out of here, it'd probably be even more different because now obviously I'm in Singapore. I'm 8 hours ahead of everyone. So I think it's going to be a challenge. But I'm lucky because my missus at the moment as well. At the moment, as if I'm gonna get another one. Oh, fucking hell. Maybe cut that bit out.
Two at the moments in this, just firing a lot of shots. No one's safe.
So like my girlfriend, I haven't even had. Like she's sound. Like, to be honest, like she's a cool girl. So that kind of relieves the stress a little bit, because I've been in long distance relationship before, like only like another one before, and she was not like that, and she was mental, and it made it 1,000 times worse. So like being away is always hard anyway, so it's going to be hard for me as a challenge, but having someone that's supportive and chilled is what I need, to be honest. And I mean, I think people, and I think people that are listening to this now will realize that my goals are like very, like, I've got high kind of ambitions to be the best. And I think it sounds bad, but like I'll do anything to get there. Do you know what I mean? So like, and I've sacrificed everything before. So like nothing's really changed. So yeah, it's definitely needed that she's chilled out and kind of like quite cool. But it's going to be a challenge because obviously I'm in quarantine at the moment, and this is the first time I've been long distance with Georgia. So once I get out of here, then that is when the real test starts, because then I'll be working full time, training, because I'm not just, I'll be a coach full time, but I'll be training as well for fights. So my schedule's going to be packed. So that's when the challenge will start, but I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. Like, she seems cool, and there's talks about her coming. She like come out here when the travel restrictions kind of calm down, because at the moment it's a nightmare to travel. But yeah, just having supportive people is the key thing, I think, and people that are like kind of supportive is probably the main word. Supportive and chilled. And my family and my friends are they're all quite chilled like that. So yeah, it's all good, man.
I mean, there's a lot in that that's really important. I think it's the understanding is the key word there. Like Mickey Mills is always a good example for this, because I remember him saying on his first date with his missus, who he's still with now, was boxing comes first. He said, all right, cool. As long as you understand the picture, because again, there's so much in that which is so densely packed that it's not like you're saying there, like living previously in the shitty conditions, grinding everything else. That's the reality of it. It's not okay. You see it on Instagram, you see the nice belts, you see all the abs and everything else. Yeah, happy days. Yeah, you're not seeing money in that though. Not yet. It's not glory. But no, I'll tell you what you do see though. You see people who have a fucking drive and give a shit. Because this is sort of the case for people who don't understand why you want to be with a fighter, because obviously the restrictions with the diet and everything else. That's in the normal world. But it's being with someone who's actually driven, someone who actually wants something, wants to work for something. And that higher purpose in that sense is so invaluable. And it's the whole thing I like to think. I don't think who says it, but it's how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you're so driven and so motivated in one element of your life, fuck me, that comes through, and you can see it the way you talk about it, the way you say it. And again, like you don't stutter, you don't hesitate whenever you say about your goals, because you know it's not what you want, it's what's going to happen. It's fact.
Yeah,
like 100%. Like you pass a lot of tech tests, that's the case. You're going to be world champion, full stop. You're going to be known for everything else. You're going to be this, that, and the other. You pick up a Leeds accent and become Liam Harrison 2.0 right now. Hey up.
Start doing all these. Start being the king of sweets and that.
But this is kind of it. It's that sort of conviction. And no, I really appreciate your time, my friend. But yeah, regardless of people staying in touch with you and keeping up to date with your training, where's the best place to reach you?
I'd say Instagram is probably the main social that I use, but they're all the same anyway. Dan McGowan MT, MT for Muay Thai. And I think I've just got a Facebook page, Daniel McGowan, I think it is. And then I'm actually starting to upload a lot more on my YouTube now, especially now that I'll be out in Singapore with a lot more to film and stuff like that. I'm going to start doing some more vlogs, training vlogs, and getting back into the ring type vlogs, because obviously again I've been out for a while, so I think people maybe be interested in seeing my journey back into the ring or the cage or whatever it is.
Ooh.
And then doing more stuff like that, and then obviously it probably I think YouTube is one that I want to push more. So I think that's just Dan McGowan Muay Thai.
Cool. Links will be in the description. YouTube. Thank you for your time, my friend. And again, be sure to check out Dan on all channels. Check out us on Fisticuffs _podcast and our sponsors, the English Hypnotist. He supports us. He supports. Go on.
Sorry, one more. My website, danmcgowanmuaythai.com.
Cool. Links will be in the description.